Good day, folks. Welcome to Journey of the Anointed with Mr. Buzz. Or should I say, welcome to The Truman Show. Excuse me, with Mr. Buzz. I'm really serious when I say this. Come to the conclusion that I am literally living in The Truman Show. For real. Okay, just not in a symbolic manner. I mean this literally. 100% literally. I live in the Truman Show. And I'm being watched by possibly thousands of, I'm going to say beings because I don't even know if they're humans. I don't know who it is. Somebody is watching every freaking move. Not only watching, it's not just me. They're watching all of us. All the anointed ones are being watched. And today I get this really strange feeling that they're even placing bets on us and stuff. Like horses in a horse race. I'm not kidding. I know that probably sounds like I'm ready for the loony bin, right? Well, no, I'm telling you, it's something like that. It's something very similar to that. Non-alcoholic beer. It's pretty good stuff. I actually like it. So when I was a child, and I mean a small child, I was really weird. There was no explanation for me. I was so strange. The other kids wouldn't play with me. I wouldn't play with the other kids. Didn't want anything to do with them. If my parents were going to force me to play with little kids, I'd freak out. Like, I would lose my mind, scream and cry and beg them not to make me interact with the other kids. Couldn't stand them. Couldn't stand the sight of them. I used to say they stunk. They didn't know how to talk right, and they screamed too much, and they yelled and ran around like crazy people, and I couldn't handle it. That was my reasons for not wanting to interact with kids. All legitimate, actually. When you think about it, that's what kids do. I didn't do that. I was like this, like calm and, So, there was another thing that made me very weird. It wasn't just that I wasn't like the other kids. I believed I was in the Truman Show. I believed I was being watched by hundreds, if not thousands of, well, at the time I thought aliens, actually. That's what I thought they were. Some sort of alien beings. And I even got the courage to mention it to my parents a few times, more so my mother, because my father would just dismiss that stuff really quickly. But my mother would at least listen to me when I said things like that. And I told her that there's somebody watching me. I said, but there's one who's not really watching me, he's with me. My guardian angel. I knew I had a guardian angel back then. And that guardian angel, to this day, is my side-by-side companion that I know is there. Not only do I kind of sense they're there, I mean, I know they are there. It's, my guardian angel doesn't hide from me at all. I mean, I can't see him physically, or her. I don't know if it's male or female, but can't really see the guardian angel, but really feel the presence and have straight time communication with this being, this guardian angel. But on top of that, me and this guardian angel would even discuss the others watching us, watching me. And the guardian angel would say, yes, they're very interested. They're very interested in watching you. And they're always going to watch you. They're always going to watch you as long as you're down here. It's like, wow. But they said, don't worry. The guardian angel said, don't worry. It's not to harm you. It's hoping you make it. Hoping you make it. Okay. So just about 20 minutes ago, I was shaving and, getting a shower and doing some regular personal grooming things. Well, I came to this conclusion that I had a real serious flash of the Truman Show, of the movie, entered my mind. And it didn't just enter my mind, it blasted its way into my mind and made me look at it. When the Lord does that, he's speaking. This only started in the last while that he does that. He'll put a song, he'll blast a song in my head, and it's right loud, or he'll make a movie start playing in my head, and I can see the scenes, and then I'll hear, him ask, do you understand? Do you understand what I'm saying? And I always do. Well, he just gave me a blast of the Truman Show that I'll never forget. And in a split second, I came to the conclusion that I am indeed living in the Truman Show. When I watched that movie, I knew it had some sort of real important message it was trying to convey to us, or at least to some of us. Because of the way I thought when I was a kid that I was being watched, and I didn't know they had video cameras they were watching me with, or when I was a little kid, there wasn't much technology around. But I had supernatural experiences as a kid, so the idea of beings watching me from a distant place wasn't that unusual to me. That wasn't impossible. I knew stuff like that was. I'm going to talk about some weird stuff in this video, so I'm going to get really weird here. Right after this Truman Show flash, and God said, do you understand? And I went, yeah, I'm in that. And he pretty much confirmed it and said, yes, it's kind of like that. They are watching, but they love you and they want the best for you. The same thing my guardian angel told me. Don't know who they are, is the thing. But then I got in the shower. And something else that happened the other day all of a sudden came to fruition. A video came up in my feed demanding I watch it. This is the Lord. You need to hear this message. I need you. Don't you dare skip this kind of thing. It was a demand that I watch it. There's been a few of them come up, and I always do, just in case, Could be some clickbait by a dishonest person. Could be the enemy. Or it might actually be the Lord trying to tell me something. So I watched it. And the Lord said, this is a video about your vision. Your vision is not good. You've needed glasses a long time. And your vision has been deteriorating. And it even mentioned, I think, that I wasn't wearing my glasses, which is true. They're over here somewhere. They're just sitting here collecting dust. They're there. There's my glasses that I got. You can see they're all messed up. The lenses are all scraped up and blotchy, and they wouldn't work anymore. I need new ones for sure. They're terrible. The video even mentioned that I wasn't wearing those and that my vision had just gotten really bad, which it had. So in the video, the Lord said, well, I'm going to fix that, but I need you to have faith that I'm going to fix that. 3 words I'm going to give you right now. The 3 words are vision, clarity, healing. I want you to repeat them like a mantra very often. Say them over and over. Say them over and over. Start right now. Vision, clarity, healing. Wow, this is out there. But I live alone. What have I got to lose? If there's any chance that's real and going to happen, it's not that bad of a deal. I just say 3 words like a mantra. I used to be into Hinduism, and there's a lot of Hindu mantras you have to recite, and you say them over and over. And they have power. And this I knew, because I was into that years ago. I don't promote Hinduism at all. I promote Christianity only. But that is an aspect of Hinduism that is actually effective, the mantras. Because our speech, it's like real magic. What comes out of our lips affects everything. So I started reciting those 3 words. And I did it for, I don't know, maybe 3-4 days. Quite a lot. I said them a lot. Had nothing else to do, really. Just walk around the house, do my thing, clean, whatever I was doing, and recite those words over and over. Vision, clarity, healing. And it said in the video to say them with belief that my vision's going to get better. So I did, because, like I say, I believed in those Hindu mantras years ago, and I actually saw them at work, and they did make things happen. Well, not too much happened to my vision until just now in the shower. And I had the face cloth in my hand, and it's a stripy face cloth. And when I looked at it, I was about to put the soap on it and get it all soapy. I looked at the lines on it, and they're really well defined. And what's that? Like, why does the face cloth look like that? And I started looking around, and my vision just got better. Just like that. It was a delayed reaction, but those words I recited their magic must have finally set in. I sat here and read some of the Bible without my magnifying glass. Oh yeah, my vision's way better. Said in the video it was going to get better in stages until it was perfect. Just like it used to be when I was young. So I just went through the first stage of it, I think. No question. Big improvement. Major improvement. So that's pretty weird. That's right after I realize for sure that I'm living in the Truman Show. The Lord restores my sight quite a bit. So now I'm going to talk about something else that's very weird to a lot of people, but not necessarily to an anointed one. There was another guy I met maybe a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, who he was actually the first one to talk about this. And I'd never heard anybody talk about it in my life. I never thought anyone else other than me even had this experience. But this guy came to me with it. And he called it visual snow. Either visual snow or virtual snow. Visual snow, he called it. And as soon as he said that, I went, that sounds like the experience I have with the little pixels in the air. He's like, that's exactly what I'm talking about. And I'm like, whoa, that happens to you too? He's like, yeah, since I was a kid. I'm like, okay, so I've never even mentioned that to anybody because I thought everybody would just think I'm crazy and no one would have a clue what I'm talking about, so there's no sense mentioning it to anybody. He's like, no, I know about the snow. So I got him to describe it to me, and he described it exactly like it happens to me. It's a bunch of little dots, little pixels that they can start across the room in the air. You just see them. And I mean, I see them for real. It's not like a to me, it doesn't seem like a hallucination or anything. It's I see them for real. They're in the air. They're tiny little dots, and there's a whole bunch of them. And at first, they'll be far apart, and they'll make a big area, like about this big. But they slowly start getting closer together, and they go into a small ball, and they're coming towards me at the same time. Okay, and they're vibrating, they're dancing around, and it gets smaller, a more condensed little ball of them, and they come towards me, and then they wash over me, and I feel them. I feel these things wash over my body. I swear, that's what it's like. It's been happening to me since I was 3, 4, something like that. Since when I believe I was abducted, which this guy was also abducted. And then we have the fact that my son has also told me that he was abducted. And yeah, almost everybody I know who is anointed, abducted. So he described it exactly the same. And I said, does it do anything when it washes over you? He's like, oh yeah, it does something. I don't know what. But it's whoever controls it sends it at me to do something. It's to have some effect, to make some change. Yeah, that's exactly what I always thought too. Told you this is going to be a weird video. This world is not at all what people think. Now, for some people, none of this stuff exists. They don't experience it. They're not going to experience it. They're not here to experience it. Some people are literally here just as background characters, NPCs. They're literally here just to fill in space. Just to make things interesting. Maybe you could almost say they're props. They're props in the Truman Show. The anointed, or chosen, whatever you want to call us, it's not the case for us. Nope. Like I say, I actually had this idea just a little while ago when this stuff came flooding in, and I had these big epiphanies. Remembered something, I think it was David Wilcock. He's one of them New Age, talks about aliens and stuff, one of them guys. And I'm not into that movement at all, but, I've watched everything. I've checked it all out, see what everything's all about. And he actually said that, this could be true, I have no idea. He said that basically it was like Disney World down here. And there was a whole bunch of beings from around the galaxy up in the sky, cloaked, and we couldn't see them necessarily. Some of them cloaked in clouds, some of them just with invisibility cloaks on there. You just can't see them, but they're right there. Watching us like a show at Disney World. And he said they're even placing bets. That's exactly what I just had for a feeling. And not because of what he said, not because I heard him say that before. This was something the Lord put inside me. This was a thought the Lord gave me. That they're even making bets. Who's going to make it? Who's not going to make it? Who's going to lose their temper today? Who's going to overcome that anger problem they've got today? Who's going to give in to their lust? They're making bets. They're literally making bets on us. They're watching us like we're in the Truman Show. We are in the Truman Show. Except in the Truman Show, it's only one. And in this one, there's a whole bunch of us. I believe it's 144,000, according to the Bible. That's how many of us there apparently are. Now, I often wonder if every one of us sees that weird snow. I haven't asked too many more. I'm going to have to ask some more and see if that's a common thing among us. And also, I'm going to ask if it's common to think you're in the Truman Show. There's this guy named Norman, who everybody thought was insane. They literally thought he was crazy, and they put him in the mental unit of the hospital up in Bridgewater, where I used to live. They put him in there. He said he had a microphone implanted in his body, and he was being listened to. And this is why they said he was crazy. He was actually an artist, and he made art out of people's junk. He got quite well known for it and sold a lot of his pieces and sculptures and stuff he made. But they labeled him as crazy because he said that someone had put a microphone in his body and he was being surveilled and listened to by a group of people. So they just locked him up for a while and said, "You're nuts, you're crazy." I remember when I met him and he told me that. And I looked at him, and he wasn't crazy at all. He was quite intelligent, and he was very serious about what he was saying. He said, "They think I'm crazy because I said that, and they put me in here." He's like, "Man, I'm telling the truth." And I looked at him, I said, "Norman, I know you are. I know you're telling the truth. Because I have something like that in me too." And he was so happy to hear another person say it. And there's even strong evidence of this. There was a guy a surgeon who removed over 100 chips out of people's bodies that were there from them being abducted against their will. Put into suspended animation, basically, and taken away, the chip implanted, and then they're put back. That's what happened to me. That's what happened to my son. That's what happened to loads of us. And some of these things, when he'd open up, he'd cut the incision where it was, and he'd find it. And as soon as he'd go to grab it, some of them just went and dissolved and disappeared, vanished into thin air right in front of him. He filmed this happening. He filmed every operation he did. I found a website that actually talks about this. These dissolvable little chips, little devices that a lot of us have in us, that when they're exposed to the air, they just... I literally found a legitimate Christian, it was a Christian site too, called the Sapphire Leadership Group. They talked about the removal of these things. Then I found a woman on YouTube who actually removes them through her videos. She sounds like R2-D2, making all these weird sounds. But she claims that if you listen to her video, your dissolvable little device will dissolve. It will disappear. She says a whole bunch of us have them and we don't know it. Some weird stuff going on here, guys. There's some really weird stuff going on. And I don't think the Lord tells us the truth about it all because it's so freaky that he thinks it'll mess our heads up. So as we go through this awakening, we're allowed to know a little more and a little more and a little more. And I was just allowed to know a lot. And he's right. If he's keeping it from us because he thinks it's going to blow our minds, yeah, mine is really blown today. I can't believe my vision. I'm sitting here. I wish someone else could experience what I'm going through. My vision's been bad for 25, 30 years. Today, I can read text on, there's a newspaper sitting over there, way over, I can read the words on it. That's messed up. That's messed up. But that's the Lord. That's the good part of stuff. That's not the part that's freaking me out and making me kind of, I don't want to say scared, but just freaked out. The Truman Show stuff is what freaks me out. That I don't know if I want to understand anymore, because that might be. Remember someone I spent a lot of time with from Africa. I spent a lot of time with her online. Never got to meet her in person. I said one day, she finished my sentence. I said, we talk about spiritual matters like this, and I said, there's a lot of things hidden from us. She looked at me, she said, they have to be, or you wouldn't be able to live. You wouldn't be able to just go about your day. There's a whole lot of things have to be kept from you. And I always knew that she knew more than she was letting on. She was somebody that was sent to assist me a little bit on the journey and the path I was on. But that's what she said, is a whole lot of things have to be kept back, because you wouldn't be able to just live your life otherwise if you knew them. They'd have you so freaked out, you'd never calm down. You'd always be in a state. Yeah, I believe she's telling the truth, because just what I learned today has got me kind of in a state. So I'm going to leave it there. If anybody knows what I mean by the visual snow, the little dots, I'd love to hear from you. Or if anyone else thinks they're living in the Truman Show, I'd love to hear from you too. I think a lot of people are thinking the things that I talked about in this video, but don't want to say nothing, because you don't want to end up like Norman, having someone lock you up because they think you're crazy. We're not crazy. We're just awakening.